everything's going to be A-okay.
Yes, it will be on episode 14 of the Axis of Combat. I'm one half of your co-host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next. You already know. Joined by my co-host.
What it do with your boy Big Boogie Ray Boogie. What's up, boys and girls? How you doing?
And before we get this podcast started, just so you know, boys and girls, you already know, subscribe, like, follow, comment on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
Everybody watching on YouTube right now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all you audio listeners, you already know Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Follow us, give us some love. You already know. And before we get into any of, the fights for this weekend, we're going to recap some bets. So what do you got for me, my brother?
Well, we'll talk about a little bit of the UFC Charlotte here because that's the only thing we really bet on last week. We'll kick it off on your side right here. We got you finished overall plus money.
Terrible night of picks, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But unit size, I did all right, and my brother unfortunately,
listen,
perished a little bit.
Yeah, your boy's been, getting a little cold out here, but we'll kick it off, my brother here. Finished overall, plus money, 1.12 units up. We'll start with the negative. He 1 unit on Stamen money line, half unit on D-Rod money line. That was a solid shot there, but
he got dog walked. Stamen was the disappointment for both of us. But yeah, continue.
Half unit on Walker Smith under 1.5 rounds.
Scariest bet I made.
And got clapped up on the parlay. Half unit parlay with the Williams money line, McGee money line, and Oberg money line.
McGee doing old man shit.
McGee, got McGott.
McGott. Looking like McChicken out there. Barbecue chicken.
Matt Brown put down Teddy from Snowfall. That's what happened there.
Yeah, if you look at McGee, guys, he looks like Teddy.
Clapped up.
He looks like Teddy from Snowfall. OD.
But what kept my brother afloat was mostly Almeida, but we'll go 1 unit on Oberg TKO. Got the 1 unit on Almeida round 1 sub. And just the 1 unit on the Almeida sub. So, my brother.
Payday.
Finished he hit the finish line all with the smiles and all that, you know what I'm saying? But your boy right here, I didn't get to finish.
Well, I should have mirrored you on that Carlos Oberg first round knockout prop. Because that was juicy, man. But you're right. Like, I wanted to do it, and it's just one of those things when you're betting last minute and shit doesn't happen the right way, So yeah. I'm scrambling and couldn't get it done. But proceed, my brother.
Well, yeah. So your boy right here finished minus 1.3. Small hit, but man. What I got wrong, mostly everything. Had 3 straights in a parlay. We'll start with the parlay first. Half unit parlay. Had Kim money line, Williams money line, McGee money line, and Oberg money line. Your boy got destroyed in the 3rd fight of the night.
Yeah. Well, Kim she did dumb shit.
She did dumb shit, but
she was winning. I thought that fight was a draw.
That fight should have been a draw.
It should have been a draw.
Should have been a push.
Yeah, McGee cucked us too, but
yeah, I would have got clapped up anyway, but still. Half unit on Stamen via decision.
I don't know. It befuddles me.
Half unit on Gary via decision.
Burnt that boy D-Rod.
Smoked D-Rod.
Yeah.
And then the half unit on Oberg round 1. It's the only one that hit for me. Ugh. So, nice little plus money pop, but, wasn't enough to keep your boy afloat. Yeah. Your boy's still sinking. Cold streak, boy. Don't tell me no more. Don't tell me no more until I'm good. When I'm good, then I'll let y'all know. I'm still going to give these hitters, though. But, my brother right here has been hot, so.
Nah, it's all good, baby. I'm going to get there, too. These cold streaks are natural. They're a part of life,
I like the cold, man, but I don't like being cold. You feel me?
I feel you.
Sick. It's sickening.
Sickening cold. Before we jump into this MMA card this weekend, guys, we have a couple of boxing fights this weekend, but we're going to highlight one. And the other couple, we haven't had time, honestly, to do some tape study. So before we get into it, those, we're going to cover the big one. And then the other two, you can cover, follow us on social media, and we'll see if we give our picks for those as well. But the big fight, probably the biggest fight of the weekend, I would say.
Yes.
Vasyl Lomachenko fighting Devin Haney.
The boy.
Great fight.
Excellent fight.
Great fight. I would have liked to see it 3 years ago.
True.
But, at least it's happening.
I mean, COVID and then Ukrainian war and
yeah,
a whole bunch of stuff kind of like that fight. I think it would have happened a couple years ago. Just a whole bunch of like life stuff just happened. So
yeah. What do you got for me on that fight? What do you like?
Unfortunately, I like Haney. I'm rooting for my boy Loma though.
You want to be wrong so bad, right?
I want to be wrong so bad. Like, Loma, he's out here, trying to fight for the undisputed 135, you know what I'm saying? But Haney, Haney's got like the speed. I'd give him speed, I think he's going to have the quicker hands. I don't know if he's got the better chin,
Yeah.
Loma, but I'm going to test that. When it comes to IQ, I think they're both about even. I think they're both very smart fighters. Power, I'm going to lean Loma. Because Haney, it's gonna be a jab fest. It's gonna be like a nice little chess match. Loma might come out southpaw just to disrupt Haney a little bit, but yeah, I think this is gonna be Haney all day.
Yeah, I'm with you there, and yeah, I'm gonna lead power with you on Lomachenko as well.
Why are you laughing?
You gotta hear me giggling over here. I remember I seen that Twitter comment. He's like, "Yeah, I know this may seem foreign to you, Haney, because you couldn't knock air out of a bag." Holy shit. Yo, the internet's undefeated, man. Ruthless. But yeah, unfortunately, I have to lean Devin Haney here as well. He's the bigger guy. Lomachenko probably shouldn't be fighting at this weight class. The only reason he's fighting at 35 is because no one at 25 wants to fight him.
And to be honest, I think Haney probably shouldn't be fighting in this weight class because I think
he's a 140.
He's a true 140.
Yeah, he's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
But when he matures up, he's gonna be at 140.
Yeah.
So he's a big guy and Loma's a little guy. And the thing is, size doesn't make fights because Loma has won at this weight class before, and even at 140, if I'm correct. The problem is Loma is 35 years old. I don't want to say he's lost a step based on his last performance against, I believe, Ramirez, but the guy did take a couple, I think 1 or 2 years off, 1.5 years off because of the Ukrainian war. This fight 2 years ago, I would have been picking Lomachenko.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, right now, Devin Haney with the experience for big fights going against George Kambosos.
Fought him twice.
Yeah, George Kambucha, George Kambosos, whatever you want to call him, I know boxing heads like to clown him, but I just think that Devin presents a lot of problems for Loma, and Teofimo kind of gave out the formula on how to beat Loma. Keep him on one side. You fight Philly shell, which Devin Haney's fully capable of doing. Keep him on the outside. The only reason I will say this fight is interesting in a lot of ways is because Devin Haney is hittable. If George Kambosos hit him, Lomachenko could definitely hit him. And what I also will say is that if Lomachenko somehow pulled off the upset, I would not be surprised. But the lean and the bet is probably going to be Devin Haney via decision for this fight. Just because I do trust Devin to stick to a game plan and keep the smaller fighter on the outside, unfortunately. And, like I said, a lot of these guys, and not to criticize Devin because he's only 24, but a lot of the other guys, the Tank Davises, the Teofimo not giving him a run back, which I think was warranted at this point considering where Teo's heading and how he's looked in his past couple of performances, and the Shakur Stevensons of the world. Now everyone's calling Lomachenko out, but after Lomachenko aged out, which is, of course, which is, you want to see these guys fight when they're at their best. And maybe, Shakur and Devin aren't, they're maturing now, which I understand, but those fights are way more interesting 2 to 3 years ago. And listen, maybe I might be wrong. Maybe Loma does have one last run in him.
Hey, man, you never know. I mean,
he's fully capable of winning this fight.
I think Loma and Haney, I was reading, they're both top. I think Haney's right out of the top 10 when it comes to jabs landed. Loma definitely top 10. Loma is also top 2 in terms of power connection, right under Gervonta Davis,
which is crazy.
So
and listen, if we're gonna keep it 100, Lomachenko and Tank should have been fought each other, because technically they're fighting in a weight class they shouldn't be fighting at. I'm just being honest, you know. And right now I would pick Tank, but 3 years ago I would have picked Loma. And for you guys that don't know, like, that's how highly we think of Lomachenko here. I think anyone his size, he chews up, or would have chewed up 2 or 3 years ago. Now that's kind of to be determined. I think these fights are a lot more interesting. Even the fight with him and Tank is still a very interesting contest because they're the same size.
I think the fight is still there, but Loma would have to win this fight.
He has to win this fight.
He would have to win this fight, and unfortunately, I think his next fight would be Shakur Stevenson.
Ugh.
And then he would have to get past Shakur to get Tank, I think.
Yeah, and you want the real. If you guys want, I think Loma probably beats Ryan Garcia right now.
I think a lot of people beat Ryan Garcia right now, low key.
Yeah, well, I like the elite of the elite. Like, yeah. I don't think like a non-elite fighter is gonna beat Ryan Garcia.
True.
You know, but like Loma, the only reason if Loma was the same size as a lot of these guys, we're having different conversations. He's just fighting out of his depth here, and it's only because no one at 25 or even below at 30 want to fight him, and it's unfortunate because I feel like he's gonna get thwarted by these 35ers who are technically guys that should be fighting at 40. And you know, I want people to know that his greatness is appreciated on this podcast, because his boxing technique, his ability to slip punches and hit you in between your punches. He's a wizard in there, man. I mean, his nickname's the Matrix, and he literally puts a lot of these guys in a blender. I mean, listen, I'm not lying to you guys. We're picking Haney, but if Lomachenko won this weekend, would you be surprised?
Slightly surprised, but not really.
Not really.
Because, you know, Loma's still that dude. Like, at least in my eyes, he's still that dude.
Yeah. And
but, a little over, he's definitely on the decline, but,
And listen, the Ramirez fight was his first fight back in a year and a half, 2 years. So I don't want to read too much into it, but you kind of have to, especially leading into a contest with a young lion like this. So, Devin Haney by decision. He's definitely not packing up Loma. You know what I'm saying? So I know that for sure.
This fight's 100% going to decision.
Yeah, both. Well, Loma's more of the threat for the stoppage. Devin is not.
I agree.
But outside that, guys, before we even get to the UFC card, the other 2 fights, Katie Taylor is fighting, what's this young lady's name? She is fighting,
I don't even know.
Chantel Cameron. The line is pretty close. I can't lie to you guys. I have to do homework on Chantel Cameron before I can give you an analysis. And the other big fight this weekend is Oscar Valdez and Adam Lopez, and that's a rematch.
That's on the Haney undercard.
Yep, that's a banger of a fight. That I do know. Oscar Valdez does not have boring fights, and Adam Lopez comes to fight. We will give you further analysis. Like I said, be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms, because we will release picks and things of that nature. But until then, on to the next one. UFC, let's get it, baby.
All right, we're back at the Apex here. UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Hill. Originally, Shabazian versus Hernandez. This fight got transplanted from last week's card. Overall, this card looks extremely rough. I didn't think it could get rougher than last week, but definitely rougher. There could be some hidden gems here, but not the most exciting card on paper. What do you think?
I agree. This is the UFC's been putting out mid cards lately, and listen, at least this one is not on ABC.
True.
This one makes the card. This card makes last week's card look like a high level pay-per-view card. You know what I'm saying? unfortunately, which is not saying a lot. So it's gonna be a rough one for us boys and girls, you know. So just hang in there with us, and we're gonna try and find you guys some money. That's our job, right? So let's get it going, my brother.
Well, without further delay, first fight on the card, we got Takashi Sato versus Themba Gorimbo. Takashi 10 Sato, 16-6, currently on a 3-fight losing streak, fighting out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but hailing from Japan, 32 years old, going against the answer, Themba Gorimbo. Lost his last fight, which was his UFC debut, 10-4 overall. Fighting out of Johannesburg, Florida. Not Johannesburg, Florida. Johannesburg, South Africa. Hailing from Zimbabwe, the 32-year-old African going one-on-one with the 32-year-old Japanese man. Japanese?
Japanese man, yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
This fight stinks. Takashi Sato, I think, sucks.
Horrible fighter.
And, I mean, he's got a puncher's chance. I think he can clap Gorimbo. Gorimbo's a little hittable, but Gorimbo's got wrestling on his side, and Takashi can't defend shit. So the way I see this fight playing out is Gorimbo hopefully taking him down and hopefully putting everybody out of their misery, including Takashi Sato, and Gorimbo winning. But
Voila.
I don't know if I'm gonna bet it. I don't like the fight. There could be some money here, but the pick for me right now is Gorimbo.
Yep.
That's the pick. Don't know how I'm gonna bet it yet. What about you, my brother?
I'm with you for all the points you listed above. This fight's almost like a show me fight for Gorimbo.
Yes.
And like I've told you guys on previous podcasts, when you have two fighters that are either a fighter that's making their debut or a fighter that needs to prove themselves, you should probably stay away from the fight bet wise. My lean is also Gorimbo. Gorimbo in this fight with AJ Fletcher, he actually jumped guard and was actually searching. His jiu-jitsu is pretty slick. Like, he's able to get to your ankles, then get to your back. He actually had AJ in some pretty compromising situations. The thing is that AJ is such a good defensively sound wrestler. He was able to mitigate a lot of it, but he did find himself in a little bit of trouble before eventually stopping him, which is great. But Takashi Sato, Jesus.
Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, my goodness. You know, I mean, you know, Lord and Savior, no disrespect. I don't like to use my Lord's name in vain, but, you know, at the same time.
You didn't say Boogie.
Lord, you know, like, I think Takashi Sato is like, this is a cuttable fighter, man. I don't like to call for people's jobs. I think they should all have jobs, and, you know, but he's terrible on the floor, man. And he's literally just a puncher's chance in this fight. So, well, yeah, with that said, yeah, Gorimbo's the lean. Don't know if I'm touching this fight. Don't think I'm touching this fight. So we could definitely move on to the next one after this, because this fight is pretty awful.
All right, next fight we got here in the flyweight division. We have Victoria Leonardo going against Natália Silva. Leonardo, 9-4, won her last fight. 33 years old, fighting out of Louisiana, going one-on-one with Natália Silva, 14-5-1, currently on a 1-2-3. She's current, wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8-fight win streak. 26-year-old Brazilian. The way I see this fight playing out essentially is, I mean, Natália Silva by however she wants, to be honest. I think Leonardo has two edges on her. I think she could either pin her against the cage and just kind of like hold her, you know, win the fight like that, or I don't know. I think she's the stronger of the two. She's tough, but in terms of skill, I think Natália's got her covered everywhere.
Yeah,
so I think I don't see how Victoria wins. Besides, you know, maybe landing a big moment or two here and there, but, you know, Natália Silva, she's probably a super big favorite.
Minus 900.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't know how to bet that one, but Yeah, Silva's the size. Silva's the lean.
Yeah, just to run through this fight real quick and just to mirror what you said, I agree with everything you said above. In terms of betting this fight, I don't know if it's bettable because Victoria Leonardo is durable. She's very durable. With that said, if I'm feeling ballsy enough, I might put some money down on Leonardo to stop her. But I'm not even sure how that's looking in terms of like juice, but I've learned a lot of things about, low level MMA. And even though I don't think Natália Silva is low level, I think the matchup is low level. And I think a lot of things can happen. They don't even have a line open yet. And it's, Wednesday, which is a little annoying on Natália Silva, whether or not she can stop it or decision. But if that stoppage line is low enough, I probably will take a shot on it, but not really interested in betting this fight. And the reason I say that is because she's had 20 fights and 16 of them have been stopped. So I could see, she's had 20 fights and 16 of them have been stopped, whether she's won or lost, Natália Silva. So this girl does stop people. So that's the only thing I have for this fight, and I think that's the only place I touch it. But yes, Natália Silva should win this fight by probably demolition, if I'm being honest. So Victoria Leonardo, man, I
think it's going to be by decision.
We'll see. Yeah,
Leonardo is tough.
She's tough, man. She's a tough girl.
I'm kind of looking at the overs a little bit here, but
yeah, it's the overs might be a play as well too. So I'm definitely not opposed to that, but definitely
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Not impressed by Leonardo at all. Unfortunately, man. I'm sure she's a sweet person, but in terms of performance, yeah, we could definitely move on from this fight.
All right, next fight up, we got lightweight division for the men. We got Chase Hooper, the Dream, going against Nick Fiore. Chase Hooper, 11-3-1, lost his last fight. 23 years old, fighting out of Washington, the state of Washington. Nick Fiore, 6-1, lost his last fight. I think that was his UFC debut. Fighting out of New Hampshire, 25 years old. I think this fight is also very ugly. I couldn't find too much footage on Fiore to make a what do you call that?
Calculated decision.
Like any kind of like reasonable
Yeah.
decision on who I think. So unless I could find more footage later on during the week, I don't know how I feel about Fiore. I know how I feel about Hooper. I think he's, good jiu-jitsu, sucks everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's durable. He's got cardio. He'll take a punch, but I don't know.
Yeah, this fight's a big stay away from me. And I feel like they're trying to give Chase Hooper someone, but I agree with you. There's not a lot of footage on this guy. But if you think I'm going to be putting my money anywhere next to Chase Hooper with that striking and that striking defense, oh man, like this guy absorbs a ton of damage. And, I know he is young, but he's already got a lot of tread on the tires just from some of the beatings he's taken, man. And, unfortunately, I think he's a great kid, but this fight's a big stay away from me, man. And it's just because I feel like this is kind of a show me fight for him, but not really. It's not, he showed me so many times like what it is. And what he's shown me is that he's unreliable.
Yeah, I mean, he's very hot and cold. He's very hit and miss with his wins and losses. I think literally win, loss since he's been in the UFC. So
yeah, Nick Fiore.
Who?
I wish I knew what Fiore's like, jiu-jitsu was like, or like his striking was like. I mean, I got kind of a read on it, but not good enough of a read where I want to make an educated guess on whether I think he could last with Hooper or not, or like, this is one I got to dig a little deeper into, but at the moment, I don't really got a big opinion on this fight.
Yeah, let's keep it real. Like a guy, even if you are picking against Hooper here, a guy who's on his second fight in the UFC, he's only got 7 fights. The thing is, you don't know, right? Because if he's good enough on the feet, he's gonna like Chase up. But it's crazy.
Or if he could, like, at least, like, if I knew he could survive the jiu-jitsu a little bit, like, I might start looking at some overs or something like that.
Right.
But like, I just don't have a good read on one opponent here, and like, I kind of need
Yeah, it's
I
very.
kinda need more information. You know,
It's very hard to dig up fights from a guy who only got 7 fights, ladies and gentlemen. Very difficult. You know, like especially like he's kind of coming out of nowhere. You know, so
it's not even just 7 fights. It's just 7 fights, and they're just nowhere like on.
Yeah, they're nowhere to be
YouTube or
found.
anywhere. I can't find this.
yeah, but even the sample size, you figure maybe if he had 20 fights, maybe 1 or 2 of them would slip through the cracks.
Yeah, maybe.
He has 7 fights, none of them must slip through the cracks. So very difficult fight to call, and I think it's just super low level. So this, once again, like I told you guys, super level fights, I stay away from them, man. I want nothing to do with them. So yeah, we could definitely move on from this one.
Next fight we got big sloppy heavyweights. It's a weekly occurrence. Got Ilir Latifi, Rodrigo Nascimento. Latifi, the sledgehammer, 16-8, 2-fight winning streak. Fighting out of Boca Raton, Florida, hailing from Sweden, 40 years old. Going against Yogi Bear. Rodrigo Nascimento, 9-1, won his last fight. Fighting out of Brazil, 30 years old. Man, this fight stinks too. Stinks. And it's probably mostly because of the Latifi side. Because my man is like washed. And he's boring. And he fights a certain way where I can't stand it.
Yep.
And I mean, this fight has overs written all over it, in my opinion. I think
agree.
Nascimento is probably the side, just because he could probably out volume him. If the fight goes to the ground, I think it's probably better for Latifi, but I don't know. I'm leaning Nascimento. I think he's gonna win. The over is probably hit. It probably goes to this is probably some ugly ass decision win, but that's all I really got for this one.
Yeah, Nascimento and Ilir Latifi, especially Ilir Latifi, you know, this point of his career.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
That's for both of them.
Horrible fighter.
You know,
Horrible fighter.
that's for both of them too. But Ilir, he, you know, Nascimento's the lean, but I highly encourage you guys not to bet this fight because I could see Ilir taking him down and holding him for 2 rounds, 2 out of 3 rounds. I could see it. And Rodrigo is not, you know, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but you know, it's a different level. It's a different thing when you have someone like Ilir on top of you with the grappling pedigree, wrestling pedigree that he has as well too, you know? So this fight's a big stay away. The only thing I have interest in betting in this fight, I agree with you, is the over. The over round and a half. I think that clears if depending on where it comes in at, if I want to bet it straight. If it's low enough, I'm gonna bet it straight. If it's high enough, I'm gonna parlay it. And I think that for sure hits. Ilir is super durable. And he has no neck to be choked by Rodrigo.
Yeah, there's no submission. Like you can't submit this man.
Plus he has a good enough wrestling. He can't take him down. I don't think he's ever been taken down in the UFC, which is pretty insane. And then Rodrigo doesn't have to worry too much because Ilir he's a sledgehammer, but he's not sledgehammering shit.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't throw any punches.
He could clip him, but he's just so low volume.
Yeah, I think I think his output, is like I read somewhere like below 4 or below 3 punches per minute. That is absurd, which means he's the Adrian Broner of MMA.
Yeah.
Doesn't throw any punches per round, and it's shameful. And I love AB, by the way, man. You know, I don't want to shit on you, but you know, the output's not there. You know, so yeah, I like just the over in this fight, whether it's a parlay piece, straight or both, and that's about all. This fight, it sucks, man. It sucks. And I highly encourage all you guys to please stay away from this fight for your health and for your stress. Because if you lay money on Rodrigo and Ilir holds him down, you're gonna hate yourself, man. You know, and this fight, man.
You absolutely suck.
Keep me away from this shit. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Well, if you thought this fight sucked, the next fight we got at welterweight, Orion Cosce, 1-on-1 with Gilbert Urbina. Orion the Galaxy Cosce, 8-1, won his last fight. 28 years old, fighting out of California. We got Gilbert Urbina, the RGB bad boy? That's a terrible nickname. 6-2, lost his last fight, fighting out of Texas, 27 years old. I actually don't know who's going to win this fight. I actually could give a shit about this fight either, to be honest. I'd rather bet on the Latifi fight than this fight.
No question.
No
question.
I think Urbina might be the more technical striker. I think Cosce might be the more powerful striker.
Cosce's definitely the better wrestler.
He is the better wrestler.
Probably Cosce. I'd say Cosce.
I guess.
But I'm not impressed by Cosce. Either Cosce, brother. No disrespect.
He's the better Cosce, brother.
Yeah, he is.
In my opinion, but
I'm not impressed by either of them. Like, not at this level. They're just guys. They're the traditional wrestle overhand. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, these guys are both young too. I mean, Urbina is going to have a significant height and reach advantage. This is 5'11" to 6'3", and Cosce's got 71-inch reach, and Urbina's got 74-inch reach. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this fight. This fight sucks too.
I'd say Cosce's the lean, but this fight might be a dog or pass, and just because of the measurables, in my opinion. I think Urbina, like I've always told you guys, when you're trying to wrestle someone that's tall, it's a real issue. And what I will say is that Cosce is not, he's okay. I know people pump him like he's a great chain wrestler, but he's okay. When I hear Orion Cosce, I think of onions, and because his first name is Orion. And I'm just being real. Just replace that shit.
You're stupid.
And I, shit that stinks. You know what I'm saying? and,
garlic Cosce.
God, I don't know. I'm not impressed by your performance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not impressed by your performance.
That's how I feel about it. I feel that way about both Cosce's, man. I feel like they probably shouldn't even be in the UFC. One got 9 fights. I think the other one has probably just below. They kind of fight the same way. Not impressed, stuffed. That's Connor said, stuffed wrestlers with an overhand right. That's what they are. The traditional stuffed wrestler with an overhand right. And then the thing is, they don't have great fight IQ either. This one a little more than the other brother, but not impressed. Not impressed, man.
Yeah, I guess the lean is Cosce, but yeah, I don't know.
The bet might be Urbina, but I
don't know.
I'm not betting this fight.
This fight might be the only fight I'm probably gonna
completely stay away from.
Absolutely stay away from. I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't know what's going to happen from here to, fight day. I might see a line that I like and, I'll throw it out there. But for the most part, I don't like this fight. I don't want to watch this fight. I don't want to bet on this fight. Fuck this fight.
Especially
on God.
And the thing is, this is why, listen, guys, sometimes we give you picks straight out, but sometimes we can't because sometimes the fights are just shit. Sometimes we want to see how these boys look on the scale. And if someone looks bad on the scale, I might have a different opinion. True. Especially if Urbina comes in and he looks extremely depleted. If you have a bad weight cut, a guy can push the pace, wrestle you down, make you work, and he can control the fight just because your gas tank is zapped because of a bad weight cut. So
yeah, this is another reason why we kind of put our picks out a little late. Because we like to get as much intel as possible. This is just our early reads.
Yeah.
I personally like to watch weigh-ins. I like to watch the face-offs. Like to see how they look like when they were, cutting weight. How they look like if they become rehydrated.
Yep.
How they're moving around, their attitude. I like, the small little things I like to look at and, kind of help me push me, a certain direction for this fighter or for that fighter. But,
I agree. And, yep. And listen, there's going to be some times where we do give you some picks. Like this next fight, I think we got some money for here, you guys. So
next fight we got, this is a strawweight fight. And this is actually a decent fight. We got Karolina Kowalkiewicz going one-on-one with Vanessa Demopoulos. Karolina 14-7, 2-fight win streak. 37-year-old Polish woman. Going against the little monster here, Demopoulos, 9-4, 3-fight win streak. Fighting out of Denver, Colorado, 34 years old, but she is Greek. So we got the Polish versus the Greeks. This is some Middle Eastern, Middle European bang for a bang here. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of cool.
What you got for me for this fight?
I think we're gonna differ here, because I think Vanessa's a live dog.
She is.
This is one of those things where I think Kowalkiewicz wins, but if I had to bet it, I think I'm gonna bet Demopoulos. But Demopoulos she's got the finish upside, in my opinion. I think this fight gets to the ground, you know, she can mop her up real quick. She's got the submission upside. She's got the power edge, in my opinion. Karolina's got the output. Karolina's got the experience. If Karolina fights smart, because the only problem I see here is I don't know how Vanessa gets this fight to the ground. Kowalkiewicz could win this. I think Kowalkiewicz is probably the pick, but the bet for me, maybe, still thinking about it, might be Demopoulos.
Yeah. Not mad at that bet. And we are going to disagree. I like Karolina by decision here. And I like Karolina by decision because I think Karolina's better than her everywhere except jiu-jitsu. I think she's the better wrestler. I think she's better in the clinch. I think she's better with the elbows. I think she's better with distance management. I think she has better output. Well, no, I know she has better output and volume than her.
Yeah.
The only thing, you know what? Demopoulos maybe has a little bit more power. That's about it.
I think she is stronger, but she does block punches with her face too, which is kind of like, it's scary.
And listen, Demopoulos' story is pretty incredible. She's 34 years old, but she is a stripper that turned into an MMA fighter. And, she really accredits a lot of her stripping experience to her dexterity as well as her power.
Do you think, girl?
Yeah, I mean, she's a beast. Great personality. And, I'm happy to see, when people come out of certain realms like that, and nothing against strippers, but they're able to use
nothing against strippers.
They're able to
nothing against strippers. Feel me?
They're able to use that skill set and apply it to something else. And, she is a beast. I don't see how she's going to be able to deal with Karolina everywhere else. And I do think Karolina, especially after making the move to ATT, and working with Joanna Jędrzejczyk and working with those killers, I think they're going to be fully prepared for this. And I think she's going to have a great game plan for her. And by the way, the measurables, Demopoulos, 5'2" with a 59.5-inch reach. Karolina, 5'3" with a 64-inch reach. So she's a half-inch taller and with a 4.5-inch reach advantage. And the thing with Karolina too, she's gonna look even bigger in the ring because she likes to fight big. She fights with that traditional Thai stance. And Demopoulos, not a great offensive wrestler.
No.
I still think raw, and I still think she's learning, unfortunately. But running into this, I feel like Karolina's gonna be a little too much for her. But I will most likely be putting a bet on Karolina by decision. I might sprinkle a quarter unit on Demopoulos by sub though. I'm not mad at that. And her sub right now, her sub prop is plus 450. Demopoulos, and I like that because that's the only way she wins this fight. And if Karolina,
I think she gets some ground and pound. I think she could ground and pound her out too.
Oh, Demopoulos?
Yeah. I
don't know. I think
it's most likely to sub. I think you're right, but
like an arm bar or something.
Yeah.
I just don't see her being able to have her way with Karolina. I just don't. I think Karolina's too seasoned. She's been there with the best of the best. And yeah, her last two fights were against underwhelming opponents. But you want the real? I'm not sure Demopoulos can beat those underwhelming opponents. Maybe she could, if we're being quite frank. But I thought Demopoulos lost her last fight, if I'm correct.
For me, I think this is gonna be like this might be a live bet spot for me.
No, not
because because you're right. I don't see how Demopoulos gets inside her. I think the way pause.
Yo. Oh my goodness.
I think the only way she can get in would be if Karolina decides to clinch with her. And if Demopoulos is smart, that's her way in, I think. Because Demopoulos can't really shoot. But I give it to Demopoulos. She's a tough girl. Like I said, I think she's the harder puncher of the two. And she got that dog, you feel me? So it's like, I like her a lot. But I think Karolina's the side.
This might be a nice live bet spot. You're right, though.
She could be the bet. Maybe this is like one of those things where I'm watching and then, middle of round one or after round one, I get a better feel and I'm like, okay, I could kind of see where this fight is going. Take my money.
Yeah, and to be real, I thought she lost against Jin Frey. That's the young lady she lost to. I thought she lost that fight. I thought Jin beat her. And Jin beat, and I don't want to do MMA math, but does Jin beat Karolina? No,
Probably not
anywhere.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Jin, but I thought Jin beat Demopoulos. And yeah, that's the level we're talking about here, and for 34 years old, is she really gonna make a ton of improvements in her game? Maybe. She is a good athlete, but I'm not gonna pick her against a vet. I think Karolina by decision. So,
all right, next fight we got. This is gonna be a banger lightweight fight, and we have Maheshate going 1-on-1 with Slavaklaus. I can't say his first name. Viacheslav.
Viacheslav.
Borshchev? Slavaklaus. I'm calling him Slavaklaus. Maheshate versus Slavaklaus. Maheshate 9-2.
Maheshate versus Santa Claus.
We got Maheshate here. 23-year-old Chinese man. Lost his last fight, 9-2 overall. Going 1-on-1 with Borshchev. Slavaklaus, 6-3. Lost his last 2 fights. Fighting out of Sacramento, California. 31 years old. Hailing from Russia. This is pretty much striker versus striker. I think this fight's going to be very good, to be honest. I'm pretty sure Borshchev is happy he's not fighting wrestlers anymore. Maheshate, probably the same. My lean is going to be Maheshate, though, only because he's the younger of the two. And he does have wrestling in his back pocket if he decides to go to it, which I think he should, because, Borshchev just can't deal with wrestlers. And it looks like they got him as a dog here, so he might be another spot that I'm looking at, you know what I'm saying? That's probably the read I got on this fight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have nothing else to add to that fight. I agree with you. I think he is a live dog. And yeah, that was perfect, actually. I just, there's not a lot to say about that fight. Maheshate is the bigger guy, not by much, but just enough. And I agree, Maheshate definitely can use the wrestling if need be.
Yeah, he's got the wrestling edge there. But besides that, striker versus striker here. And kickboxer versus kickboxer, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be an exciting fight.
Yeah. Maheshate is live, though. He's live as shit.
I don't know if it's going to go to distance or not, but my lean is Maheshate. I like Maheshate.
Me too. Don't know if I'm going to bet him, but I like him.
Yeah. All right, to kick off the main card, we got Michael Johnson going 1-on-1 with Diego Ferreira. I think he used to be Carlos Diego, right?
Yeah.
Now he's just Diego. He dropped the Carlos. Michael Johnson, the Lord, 21-18. Won his last fight. Fighting out of Boca Raton, Florida. 36 years old. Diego Ferreira, 17-5. 3-fight losing streak. Fighting out of Texas, hailing from Brazil. 38 years old. This is one of these fights where you can't really trust either side. But as crazy as it sounds, I'm riding with my boy Michael Johnson. I think he's got the better offensive grappling. He's got the better defensive grappling. Only person really able to take him down was Khabib, with ease. Ferreira, I think he's washed. He hasn't looked good in his last couple fights. I think Father Time is winning the battle against Fiore here. And I think Michael Johnson is going to win this battle on the card as the main opener here. He might put him away. Who knows? I'm leaning Michael Johnson here. Is Michael Johnson the dog?
He is the dog.
Oh my God.
And I love this fight for Michael. Yes, Diego has lost to Beneil Dariush, Gregor Gillespie, and Mateusz Gamrot.
Those are killers, by the way.
Killers. But Michael Johnson, like my brother said, has only really been controlled by Khabib. Diego Ferreira is a monster on the floor, like a legit black belt, world champion black belt. But I will say Michael Johnson's defensive grappling is really good. He is the bigger man here. He has lost 9 fights via submission.
I think most of his losses are by a submission. Though,
Yeah.
So you know what's gonna happen. We're gonna pick Michael Johnson, first round sub. For some reason he's just gonna give up his back, and Fiore gonna rear naked choke his ass. And I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, but I will say, listen,
So freaking pissed.
I like Michael Johnson. I would pit Diego Ferreira if he had one name like Maheshate in our last fight, like Seal and shit. But what I will say is
You
that
said like Seal.
like Seal.
I'm dead.
But I do like I like Michael a lot here. I'm surprised he's a dog, if I'm being quite frank. Diego's just looked old his last couple of fights, and Michael Johnson has elite takedown defense, man. Elite. And he's gonna be the faster guy in there by far. And the guy who hits harder. So against a 38-year-old chin, I think Michael Johnson's definitely a live dog. So, but yeah.
All right, next fight we got another banger. And this is probably the fight I'm looking forward to the most on this card. We have a welterweight fight here. Andre Fiallo going one-on-one with Joaquin Buckley. Fiallo 16-6, 2-fight losing streak, fighting out of Florida, hailing from Portugal, 29 years old, fighting Joaquin Numansa Buckley. 15-6, also on a 2-fight losing streak, fighting out of Louisiana, Missouri, 29 years old. Coming back down to 170. So this is gonna probably be another one of these fights where I'm not gonna give a pick till an assured pick till last minute because I want to see the weigh-in.
Right.
But this is violence. This fight
does not go to decision.
If this fight goes to decision, it's either gonna be a horseshit fight or one of the most sickest fights you've probably ever seen in your life. Because I mean, these guys throw. These guys got knockout power. These guys also might have questionable chins. I go back and forth on this. I kind of want to lean Joaquin only because I think he's been showing more improvement in his last couple fights than Fiallo. And in that last fight against Curtis, he was winning that fight until he wasn't. Fiallo tends to when you put the pressure on him, you start bopping him. He still keeps walking forward, but then he just stops throwing. And that scares me a little bit. But I think he's the more technical striker of the two. And I could see him giving him a lot of problems. I could see Fiallo giving Buckley a lot of problems the same way Curtis did. It's tough, man. This fight is tough. I think I'm leaning Buckley. But man, I don't know. I like Fiallo too. I don't know. What about you, brother?
I tell you what, violence.
People gonna bleed, is gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
Oh God.
That's this fight.
Yeah.
For sure. This fight's not going to decision. That I can assure you. If it's a nice, reasonable price on that price tag, it's definitely parlayable because there's no way it's gonna be under -200. There's no way.
I mean, it could be. I mean,
I'd be very surprised.
They might know.
I'd be very surprised.
They might know.
If they don't, I'm smashing that. That'd definitely be the bet for this fight. Yeah. But Joaquin should win this fight. The problem is he is cutting down to 170, so he might be extra depleted. Andre is pretty good at going to the body, especially on a guy that, he is hittable. And if we're being honest, Andre has the more precise hands. Joaquin's kind of a blitzer. And you kind of seen that in the Chris Curtis fight. Like, he was touching Chris Curtis. He was zipping in and out. He's going to be fast. But, and he has made a ton of improvements, especially in his offensive wrestling. So he should win the fight. The thing is, Andre's power, especially against a depleted body. And,
that's true.
And here's the other thing, too. Joaquin right now is sitting at -215. Definitely not placing him. This might be a dog or pass fight. Andre Fiallo is sitting at +185.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And if at that line, I like my boy Fiallo. I like him. Joaquin might be the lean, but Fiallo might be the bet here. And Joaquin should get it done. Yes, he's put people on posters, but he's also been put on posters.
He's also been posterized.
Posterized, man. Smile for the camera.
Yeah.
In basketball, they say, here's the jelly because here comes the jam. You know what I'm saying? Or is it the peanut butter? It's the peanut butter, right?
It's something.
It's hilarious, but it's true. And this is one of those situations. I kind of like Fiala with that line, man. I kind of do. He might be the bet here just because I think the line's a little disrespectful. And, Joaquin is cutting down, but they're the same size. Let's just keep it real.
And I don't, now that you say that, now I'm thinking about it, like, I don't like the fact that Joaquin is kind of like coming back down because I felt like he fought better when he was a 185er.
Yeah, and Logan Storley like dog walked him with the wrestling. And Logan's not a big 70er.
But Logan Storley still.
He's also a beast. Yeah, so I don't know. This fight is violence. That's the best bet for this fight. If you can find a nice violent spot for this fight, that's where you go. I don't think this fight goes to decision. I don't. Fiallo fights one way. Joaquin kind of fights one way. And I'm going to pick the guy. I'm playing the line here. I'm playing the value of the line. I think Joaquin's the lean, but the bet might be Fiallo just because I feel like the line's a little disrespectful. He might be physically the smaller guy, but they're about the same size. And Fiallo's the better puncher. He's the more crisp puncher.
Yeah.
Joaquin, maybe with the kicks, definitely with the kicks, actually. More the linear attacks with the kicks to the face and this and that. I could see him giving him some trouble, but you almost have to play the line here, in my opinion. Yeah.
I might get that. The only thing that worries me is I could see literally Buckley shooting on Andre. And like if this fight goes to the ground, I don't know how it looks, to be honest.
I agree. So. That's what and Joaquin's the more explosive and younger guy. So Joaquin's the lean. Fiallo might be the bet though. He might definitely be the bet.
I agree with you there.
So, but yeah, we could get to the next one, man.
All right, we're here at the featured bout. We got Emily Ducote going one-on-one with Lupita Godinez. Emily, she is 12-7. Lost her last fight, 29 years old, fighting out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Going one-on-one with Lupi Godinez. 9-3, won her last fight, fighting out of British Columbia, Canada, 29 years old, but hailing from Mexico. Lupi was not the original opponent. The original opponent was Pollyanna, right?
Yeah.
And
that was a better matchup for Ducote.
Was a better matchup for Ducote, I agree. I think if Lupi decides to wrestle here, I think this is an easy Lupi win. If this fight stays standing, I think it's a little more competitive, and I don't know who wins. The lean is Lupi. Do I trust her? I don't know. I want to trust her to wrestle, but at the same time, it's like, man, watching that last fight with her and Calvillo, which she arguably lost, in my opinion. But
it's crazy because I see a lot of people criticizing her for not using her wrestling against Cynthia. But if we're being honest, Cynthia is a good grappler, man.
I get that.
She's also a good wrestler, and I don't know why people are like totally shitting on her about that. It's like, dude, she just kind of worked to her strength and she backed Calvillo up. And one thing I do know, Emily Ducote, I don't want to say a habitual line stepper, man, but kind of is. Kind of mid-tier in Bellator. And she lost to Eliminate McFarlane, but, Eliminate is, I would say, more of an elite fighter. Not these days, but at that time she was. Angela Hill kind of wrote the book on how to beat this girl. Put pressure on her and put her on her back foot because, she beat Jessica Penney, but Jessica Penney's okay with being on the floor and try to work her guard. Angela Hill put pressure on her, and Ducote was completely uncomfortable in that fight. And if you want the real Lupita, I don't know if she's a better striker than Ducote, but she's not far from her. And I think Lupita probably hits a little harder, if we're being honest.
Yeah, but I think Ducote's best victory path is if this fight stays standing, I think.
Yeah, but what I will say is, do I trust Lupita? Not so much. But what I will say is, do I trust her to wrestle more likely in this fight than in the Calvillo fight? Yes, I do. Because I don't think she feels completely matched or outmatched in the grappling department. Because even Calvillo, in some of the scrambles that she did have, Calvillo did show why that wrestling shit was not going to work.
I agree with that.
And that fight was close. Cynthia, it could have went either way. I'll be honest with you guys. I kind of like Lupita here, and she might be getting my money. And for the reasons being that I think she hits harder, This is at a catch weight at 120, so she's not completely depleting her body, which means she's probably going to hit harder. She is a pressure fighter, and we've seen Emily be susceptible. The biggest point to this fight is the pressure. I'm going to stop right there. The biggest point to this fight is the pressure. And I think Lupita is going to pressure and make her feel uncomfortable. And then obviously, like, the striking is, I think, relatively close, if I'm being honest. And she has more pop, but Lupita has the wrestling in her back pocket if she needs to go to it. I like Lupita here, man, and she might be getting a bet for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't decided yet, but I do trust her to more. I think she's more likely to use her wrestling in this fight than this Javier fight.
I hope so, because I think she uses.
It's not even close.
She covers her line and plus, son.
Yeah,
to be honest. So
I give Emily a lot of credit for accepting this fight as opposed to Poliana. I really do. I just Lupita's a tough fight for her in my opinion, especially if she uses the wrestling.
I mean, I think it's gonna be competitive standing, man, because I think the Cody's got hands, and when she was fighting in Bellator, she was fighting at 125, and I don't think that was her weight class either.
She's a 15er.
She's a 15er, and then ever since she's been in 15, she's kind of like found herself a little bit, you know. So
right,
I think this fight could be low key banger status, but
yeah. And want the real? I think Lupita's just the better athlete and the stronger girl. That's just what it is.
I don't know if she's just the stronger girl.
I think so.
But
you seen how she picked some girls up. She picked some girls up and put them down, man. Like homeboy Gelton Almeida last week. Like, it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I like Lupita a lot here. I do. At 155, I do like that. Will she be getting my money? If it is low-level MMA, maybe, maybe not. But don't be surprised if I take a shot on her. Don't be surprised.
All right, on to the co-main event. We have a middleweight fight with Edmund Shabazian and Anthony Hernandez. The Golden Boy, Edmund Shabazian, 12-3, won his last fight, 25 years old, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Going one-on-one with Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, 12-2, 3-fight winning streak, fighting out of California, 29 years old. This fight is pretty interesting. I'll just be straight up. I wasn't the biggest Edmund Shabazian fan when he first made his way into the UFC. I thought it was a little bit overrated, a little bit overhyped. Same thing for Fluffy, but Edmund was able to change camps, and I give him credit. He's been improving. You know, I've been seeing the improvement. He's fighting less like a dumbass and, you know, more calculated. And Fluffy is a beast. He's slowly been turning into a little bit of a grappling animal. One of
the most slept on fighters in the UFC.
Yes.
No question.
Yeah, at the moment, I think he might be.
This might be his coming out party, ladies and gentlemen.
I think early, Shabazian's got the advantage.
Maybe not.
He's the better striker. My lean, and if this fight does go deep, Hernandez. The better grappler by far, I think, and he's 100% got the better gas tank. And he's just mean, man. Anthony Hernandez is mean, boy. What do you got?
Yeah, and just to jump in, I was trying to jump in on you, man, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Keep jumping me, dog.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, let me breathe.
Listen, violence is the bet on this fight, and here's why. Anthony Hernandez, 12 fights, 10 of them have not gone to, only 2 of them gone to decision. Shabazian, 15 fights, only 2 of them gone to decision. Someone's getting murked in this fight.
Yeah.
People gonna bleed. It's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
No question. Someone is definitely getting, washed up in this fight. And you want the real? I know you had said Shabazian early. I think that's his best shot.
I think it is his best shot.
But I could see Anthony dog walking him from round 1 to round 3. I could see that happening too.
It's a possibility.
I
think Shabazian's been improving enough where I'm not gonna completely discredit him or not give him an actual viable shot, because I think he does have a viable shot in the beginning.
Yeah,
he could catch Anthony with some crazy shit, some kind of head kick or
Yeah.
You know, this dude, he got some pop. Shahbazyan got pop. I give him that.
Yeah, and I don't want to shit on him too bad because he's only 25 years old.
Yeah, he's stupid. He's stupid young.
I feel like he will eventually come out of that Ronda Rousey shadow because he was Ronda Rousey's sparring partner for a while, which is crazy. And that's been more of his, like, you know, how people see him. But I mean, he does have legit skills. He has been honing it in, especially in his last fight, where he kind of like, you know, he took that guy out at the end of the second round, which is very impressive. And it was impressive because of his gas tank. But the thing is, Anthony Hernandez all day, I don't think Anthony's going to give him time to breathe. I think Anthony's going to get him exhausted. The only reason he did have a good gas tank, in my opinion, with that last fight is because that guy was low volume. Anthony Hernandez is a complete opposite. And even if Anthony, in my opinion, gets caught early, he is very durable. And when you have good cardio, it usually makes you very durable, and it also usually helps you with recovery after getting hit. I like Anthony Hernandez probably by late stoppage here. I also like Anthony Hernandez as a live bet spot because if he does get dropped early, that line's going to drop. And then second, third round, I could see him picking him back up and taking this fight over and stopping Shahbazyan late. You know, he's at minus 215 right now. He could drop down to probably plus money or low minus ones. End of the first round, and then that's when you slam him, and I think he takes over late. I think he stops Shahbazyan late. I felt bad because I don't think Shahbazyan's a bad kid. I just think this is a terrible matchup for him. I really do. I think this matchup presents a lot of problems with him. And listen, you know, if you think Anthony Hernandez's ground game is bad, like you'll watch that Rodolfo Vieira fight. He was losing that first round too, and his head and arm choke series, like Amir Khani, it's very impressive. He can hit it from different angles. That the anaconda choke, the Darce choke, he's a beast. And I think Anthony Hernandez is one of the most slept on fighters in the UFC. And this fight could be competitive, or
they would have been packing them up.
Anthony Hernandez could pack this boy up and pack him up bad. So, by the way, underrated striker too. Anthony Hernandez, underrated striker, and he has underrated pop. Anthony Hernandez, inside the distance is definitely where I'm looking for this fight. That's definitely probably going to be the bet. I could see him getting it done and stopping him. Definitely a live bet spot too. So
this could be a live bet spot.
No question.
All right, moving on to the main event. We got Mackenzie Dern going one-on-one with Angela Overkill Hill. Mackenzie Dern, 12-3, lost her last fight, fighting out of Los Angeles, California, 30 years old. Going against Overkill Hill, 15-12, 2-fight winning streak, fighting out of New York. Holla, holla, what's up, New York, 38 years old. Another fight I'm kind of going a little back and forth on. I think Angela is live. The fact that this is a 5-round fight, as much as I like Angela Hill to fight a very smart game plan here and just like keep Dern off. I don't know if she's got the power to keep Dern off. And if you're going to give Mackenzie Dern 25 minutes to, try to get in there, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one. This one I'm still up in the air about, if I'm being completely honest with you.
I tell you what, there's money coming in on Angela Hill because she was close to plus 200 the other day. She's now plus 144. And I kind of still do like her in this fight. I don't know if I'm going to bet her, but I kind of almost want to because a couple of reasons. Mackenzie Dern, not the best offensive wrestler.
Not at all.
She's had 10 fights. She's only had 5 takedowns.
Yeah, no.
That is horrid. And listen, she could jump guard here, but I do expect Angela Hill with her fight IQ to be prepared. I also understand that Angela Hill is 38 years old, but she is a very young 38 because she didn't really start kickboxing until she was 18. And when I say young 38, it's because she doesn't have a ton of tread on the tires. I've seen girls like Claudia Gadelha fight her, a couple of other girls. Verna Jandiroba. I don't want to butcher her name because she's a good fighter, man. I like Verna. She's a very good fighter.
Yeah, she's great.
Claudia couldn't get Angela to the hill, and I feel like Claudia has better shot selection in wrestling than Mackenzie Dern. Verna put Angie in some bad spots and is a better offensive wrestler than Mackenzie Dern. Couldn't get the job done. I think Angie actually won that fight, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And if she did she? Yeah, I think she did.
I think she did win that fight.
But my point is,
I got you.
Unless you're a good wrestler, you're not going to get her to the floor. She has
she lost. She lost that fight.
Yeah, was it split?
Unanimous.
Okay, yeah. That fight, you know. I do remember that fight. She did control her. But Verna put her in some bad spots. She was only in one real compromised position with a knee bar, if I'm correct. And that was it. But the rest of the fight, Angela was able to mitigate her and keep her from subbing her. Mackenzie Dern, in my opinion, is the greatest female grappler of all time. Definitely in MMA. And listen, there's a whole thing on YouTube. You guys could watch it. She went against a lady named Gabby Garcia, who has nearly 150 pounds on her. And she winded up winning that fight in the ADC, in not the ADC, in the grappling match. Mackenzie's grappling is wicked. Better than everyone else, arguably better than most of the men. Let's just keep it real. Her grappling is that legit. However, can I trust her to get it to the floor? No, I can't. She might have to jump guard here. Angie should be prepared for it. I kind of like Angie via decision here. I do. And don't know if I'm going to bet it yet. I really have to really think about this. But I would not be surprised come fight time that she gets my money. I think Angie has all the tools to beat her. And you've seen what Angie's done to girls that can't get her to the floor. You can't get her to the floor, she's going to light you up. She's going to light you up like a fucking Christmas tree on you know, in a Puerto Rican household in fucking Thanksgiving Eve, you know? You know, the house got to be up, you know? The tree got to be up before Thanksgiving. Unless there's a curse in the house, you know?
Stupid.
It's true. That's how Puerto Ricans think, man. I'm allowed to say it because I'm Boricua. We've seen this shit. We lived through this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think Angie is going to she could light Mackenzie Dern up like that Christmas tree in my house on Thanksgiving Eve. And now, on the other hand, like to your point, could Mackenzie sub her? Yes. She has. If this was a 3-round fight, I would feel way more comfortable picking Angie
100%,
flat out.
100%.
But you're going to tell me you're going to give this girl 25 minutes to figure you out? And if she gets Angela's back, yikes. Yeah. She mounts Angela, yikes.
My only problem is, it's my only problem is, I don't know if Angie's got the power to have, like, because Mackenzie Dern, she'll eat a punch.
She's got a chin.
To get in.
She's got a chin.
And I don't know if Angie can keep her off for 25 minutes. That's my only issue. Like, Angie would really need to, like, sit down and step and, like, really hurt her. But I don't. That's the only thing that's kind of scaring me off of Angie, if I'm being honest.
I mean, listen, we've seen Angela Hill fight Jessica Andrade and rock Jessica Andrade, and she rocked her because she walks, and you know, Angela Hill's striking is very elite.
Oh yeah, no,
I
love that she throws like in volume. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God,
her hands are always active.
She's incredible.
Yeah,
I love Angela Hill, and I think that's why she's probably gonna get my money for this fight because I think she's live as hell. I think she's a very live dog. But what I will say is her timing is probably the most underrated part of her game. The way she catches a lot of these girls coming into punches, walking into the space, I could see her just doing that to Mackenzie all day. And I expect this fight to kind of look like the Yan Shanam fight. It's just that Yan's a little younger and Yan is, I would say, probably a little stronger than Angie. That's why I might switch over and throw money on Mackenzie because she is a minus 186 right now. But what I will say is probably lay juice on the submission because if this fight goes to decision, I could see Mackenzie losing this fight. But Angie is very live in this fight, and she might be getting my money. So for all the reasons above. So yeah, I agree with you, Mackenzie. This fight's very scary, but I could see Angie keeping her off and this looking like a lot like the Yan fight. I really could.
I hope so. I hope if she's able to just stay on her wheels and, you know, just frustrate the shit out of fucking Dern the whole fight, I think it's possible.
But as well, too, here's the other thing, too. I seen Verna put her in bad positions. And Angie's defensive wrestling and ability to get back up is impressive. She just got worn out a little bit by Verna, but that's only because Verna's a really good wrestler. She's a lot better of a wrestler than Mackenzie.
Yeah, but Mackenzie's going to be relentless, though, too, at the same time. Like,
no question.
Terrible takedown percentages, but she'll keep going for them. That's the thing, you know?
And she's got a chin.
Yeah. And, you know, she'll take one. She'll take one to get in.
Yeah, people shitting on this fight. The only reason you're going to shit on this fight is because Mackenzie might have to she's going to try and jump guard and she might try to make it boring from there and fall on her back a couple of times and try to call her in. But outside of that, this fight's fun. I know people are complaining about this fight. This fight has real title implications, and I love everything about this fight stylistically because there's so many questions and variables. But there is a path for victory to both of these ladies, and I think my bet might be on the dog this weekend. But I respect everyone picking Mackenzie because she can definitely win this fight via submission. There's no question. Yeah,
it's our only path to victory. I mean, you could bet
she could win via decision because she could put volume on Angie. You know, she just throws those looping punches. I just don't think she's going to connect as much. I mean, I thought she lost. It could look a lot like the Tisha Torres fight.
True.
Which is crazy, right? But the thing is, I thought Tisha won that fight. And if you're telling me this fight's going to go 2-2 heading into the fifth, I'm going to put my money on the dog. That's why I like the dog shot here, too, because I could see it being 2-2. Yeah. And she might get her down once. You know, she had Jan down once or twice, too, and it went 2-2 heading into the fifth. And Jan beat her. Jan clearly beat her. You know, so I could see Angie, the same situation with Angie.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, but I agree with you, though. Right. You're an asshole, bro. I tell you. Yeah. But we'll see how it goes. Great main event. Yeah, I think it's a solid main event.
Yeah, so. But that about wraps it up, right?
Wraps it up.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, end of episode 14. You already know the usual. Follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
And everybody watching on YouTube, again, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and also don't forget to like it again, and like it again.
Yep, and for all of our audio listeners, you already know, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast. Love you all. Episode 14 in the books. Enjoy your weekend. I think we're getting some beautiful weather. If not, stay in and enjoy some violence, as we will be, whether it's hot or not. Love ya. Subscribe. Show us some love. Holla at ya.